went to the queen to tell her her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of the Peasants Perspective. This is a good one today. This is going to be a great show.
All right.
I got no filter hat on today, so it's unleashed. I mean, this is going to be fun. How'd you sleep?
I'm still sleeping.
I slept rough last night.
I went to bed really late because it was threatening a freeze last night, and I had to get my dahlias in, so I was up till like midnight.
Putting in flowers?
Yeah, tubers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Of all the maintenance things you could do around here, that's what you did. You brought in the flowers.
Well, you
got a fence to be built. You got 10 acres to corral. You brought in the dahlias.
That's the life of a farmer, man. You got to do what you have to do.
This guy's peasants. At the end of the day, peasants. Okay, he's moving flowers in to avoid the freeze.
That's right.
That's really funny. My wife and son went to a concert in Seattle last night, which of course always makes you nervous because they're out in the middle of the night in Seattle. But they got home at like 2 a.m. So, put my own kids to bed. And they rustle around and wake up. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it was a long night. Anyways, so let's get started out this morning. As I said, it's a great show. Lots of drama happened yesterday. Holy cow. It's very difficult right now at this moment to separate noise and stuff like that from signal. And unfortunately, today, and we have to talk about it, the Epstein thing, in my opinion, is mostly noise.
Yep.
But there's a signal in there.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The signal is what Catherine Austin Fitts said. The bankers are trying to take out Donald Trump, and they're willing to sacrifice some of their own to do it. And there's some kind of interesting twists and turns in this Epstein saga that we're going to go on to. And so for us and our audience, we're peasants, right? We have to live here. We have skin in the game, but we have no skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
So
I was talking to my wife about this last night because it was like, it's really, it must be really confusing to most people that are watching the news going, release the files, don't release the files, release the files, don't release the files. Now it's like everybody's all gung-ho to release the files.
Except for Mike Johnson, who's like, I can't believe the Senate passed the bill we passed.
It's like, what is going on?
What is going on here? So we're going to break some of that down today. But a lot of the drama yesterday happened while Mohammed bin Salman, the future crown prince of Saudi Arabia, was making a visit to the White House. So this is, again, one of those issues. You have a foreign dignitary on American soil, and you're doing the most salacious, craziest thing over in the House and the Senate at a time when Donald Trump can't pick up the phone to proverbially take people behind the woodshed. Right? So Mohammed bin Salman was meeting with Donald Trump, and this is the only clip we're going to play from this meeting, but it was a good meeting. The big thing here was they'd already committed to buy, I think, $400 to $600 million worth of military hardware and AI investments, and they upped it to $1 trillion. Scott Bessent confirmed that, yes, Trump has brought in $20 trillion worth of investment to this country. Now, just for perspective, Joe Biden didn't even bring in $1 trillion over the entirety of his 4 years. Donald Trump's 10 months in, and we're already sitting at $20 trillion committed.
I think you could you could also say, I think that 20 trillion is more than anybody's brought in ever.
Oh, as a single president? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe if you adjusted inflation numbers in 1949.
Yeah, it's staggering. It's a staggering amount.
Back when we were still doing the Marshall Plan, there was nowhere else to invest in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe back then. Okay, so one of the things that Mohammed bin Salman that did get brought up and asked by a reporter, again, this was supposed to be kind of a gotcha question to create a wedge between Saudi Arabia and America. He answered it perfectly. It was about 9/11.
I feel painful about, families of 9/11 in America. But, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, to continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism.
Yeah. So basically, he's saying the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia, that was the relationship that Osama bin Laden was trying to destroy, because the West has a hold in the Middle East because of that relationship, and that's the wedge he wanted to drive. So people who go over the top about, well, we have to get the Saudis, and there are people who are like, now we have the 9/11 papers, the Saudis have to pay. It wasn't the nation of Saudi Arabia, right? It was some Saudis with an extremist, and yes, some family members of the crown prince. Remember, there's thousands of cousins, and they're the only rich people in the country. Okay? Like, they basically own
more princes you can shake a stick at.
More princes than you can shake a stick at, yeah. And some of them did fund Osama bin Laden's program. Now, when Mohammed bin Salman kind of came into power, he was not in the direct line of succession, right? The current king, who I can't remember his name right now, he had other people that were further up in succession and stuff like that. But he chose Mohammed bin Salman primarily because Donald Trump wanted him to. This is back in like 2016. Okay. So that's a big deal. The other thing too is they did a huge purge inside Saudi Arabia, locked up tons of the Saudi princes and cousins and uncles into the Hotel Ritz, which basically became a tell us your secrets type of facility, a torture chamber. But they eliminated, my understanding is, put to death hundreds of these people, and then basically exiled and quarantined a lot of other ones. So they went pretty far. But part of this also was simultaneous with this shakedown. They gave women driver's licenses. They opened up media. They opened up for foreigners to come. Like, Mohammed bin Salman is very much advancing his civilization. One of the things he says here is, listen, we got like skyscrapers and stuff now. Like, we're not some tribal
They're
place.
the progressive Middle East.
We don't want, like, we're done with that too,
Yeah.
So that was a really good meeting. Meanwhile, while this meeting was going on, you had two other things that were happening simultaneous. So let's touch on the J6 one first. So Steve Baker put up a follow-up article to his previous article. And the headline in here let me just pull the article up. So he says, these two bushes are the only ones the officers are seen looking under in the 11 minutes and 14 seconds they captured on available surveillance footage. So the basically this story here by Blaze Media is the police walk right past the DNC pipe bomb to first look under a bush where the bomber sat 17 hours earlier. So what this story is saying is we have the overnight footage of the pipe bomber, right? Walking around, and she sits on a park bench, she places a pipe bomb, she goes somewhere else, and she sits on another bench and places a pipe bomb, both under bushes. This Capitol Hill police unit was sent to investigate, and so here's the route that the pipe bomber took in red, okay? And then the CBCI, what is that? Counters travel route. I think it's the green. But the green right here is where they traveled. They went straight, the only place they looked. So they got sent to go look for a pipe bomb with no description of where. The only place they look, these two guys go walking, the only place they look are directly where the girl sat the night before.
That is so crazy.
And one of those spots was not where the bomb was.
Oh.
So where the bomb was planted on camera overnight is a different place than where the bomb was found. But these Keystone cops only went to look where it had been set the night before. And they were, where's the bomb, Charlie?
It's around here somewhere.
Exactly. The only two places they looked on their sweep were the places where she put them.
Well,
like, that's it. Like,
and then
got down on
importantly,
his hands and knees to look under a single bush. Not all of them. Not, walking around the whole building.
Right.
Walked to a bush, got down on his knees and looked.
Right. And then critically did not move on when they didn't find something, kept looking.
Well,
there.
then you get to the tech side. The video that would have shown where the pipe bomb was eventually found by the park bench by the building. Oh, the video that shows her sitting by the bench and putting it by the bush, somehow hours of footage is overwritten because nobody thought to ask them for the surveillance footage, so it just automatically overwrote is what they're claiming. Oh, so here we have, you know, you had plenty of chance, January 6th, January 7th, January 8th, January 9th. No, you let the 30-day time lapse for the video to be overwritten, and you're just like, oopsies.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
again...
Not believable.
Yeah, the Inspector General report, while the Secret Service had bomb-sniffing dogs at the DNC in advance of Harris' arrivals, the dogs were never taken to the direct vicinity of the park bench, according to a Department of Homeland Security Inspector General report. The officer responsible for sweeping the exterior areas said the exterior sweep included the garage entrance ramp and some other areas near the garage entrance, including a storm drain, but did not include the bushes where the pipe bomb was located. Okay, well, that's all fine and dandy, except we're still trying to figure out if this bomb was real or not. The FBI claims it was, but was it planted January 5th or January 6th? Because that's one of the things they said is the January 6th surveillance footage, if their story is correct, is a diversion to what they should be looking for on January 6th. The pipe bomber put the pipe bomb on video somewhere where it was not discovered, which means it was turned. The other thing, too, is the original finding of it when it was one of the pipe bombs, when it was planted, the timer was facing out towards the road. The pipe bomb got turned around.
Oh.
When did it get turned around? Too much. So here we are with the FBI completely scrambling. They created that rapid response X page, and then they stopped using it. They got community noted on like 2 or 3 of their initial posts. Guys, it's a total cover-up. Now, Thomas Massey, you guys know my opinion on him. Not super excited about what he does. I think in many ways he kind of is an operative for the left. And I decided after today, I think this guy just wants to take out the state. But he has a really weird way of doing it because when Democrats are in power, he doesn't do anything except for vote on their stuff with a protest. Right? Okay, I'll pass it out of committee, but that's protest. When it comes to Republicans, he gets a spine and seems to be able to have a backbone on this stuff. But so I'm torn because I really dislike what he's done with this Epstein stuff. I don't know. Maybe it turns out that these guys are Trojan horses into the left and they're going to expose the left by pretending they hate Trump. I don't know. Sounds like 5D chess to me. Or on the other hand, I love what he's done on January 6th. If not for him, if not for Louis Gohmert, Matt Gaetz, a little bit of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and a couple others, we wouldn't know hardly anything that we know about January 6th. So this is him talking about interviewing Capitol Hill police and their kind of inconsistent story with regards to this pipe bomb. Keep in mind, part of what they tried to throw onto January 6ers was we nearly collectively assassinated Kamala Harris. They had to backtrack that claim because Kamala Harris didn't want to answer questions like, why were you in the DNC during certification? That's buffering. John Attackis, good morning. Pony Boy, good morning. Frazier, yep, good day in Boise. Not foggy like yesterday. Good morning. Carlites, good morning. Awesome to have you guys. According to our little metrics here, nobody's watching right now. Is that true?
No, that's not right.
Are we talking into thin air?
No.
Because it says Rumble's still connecting.
Supposed to get a briefing on the pipe bomb.
All right. Do we need to refresh that? All right, you'll figure it out. Here's Thomas.
Also, I'm supposed to get a briefing on the pipe bomb issue. This thing is sketchy as all get out. The government claims I've been in a room with the head FBI person in charge of the DC field office of the investigation doing a sworn deposition. Not all of this has been released.
We unearthed a video. I don't know if you've seen it, when that second pipe bomb is found. And the Secret Service, it's a videotape of the DNC, and a person who doesn't have a uniform on, we're told it's a Capitol Hill police officer, found that bomb, walked over to incoming
Instantly, like walked straight to the bush and then walked over to the Secret
Vice
Service.
President Kamala Harris's detail, told them there was a pipe bomb. Now, I believe that to be true because I've since talked to the Capitol Police and talked to one of the people on the scene that day. They went over and told the Secret Service detail there was a pipe bomb there. On this video, about 4 minutes elapsed before the Secret Service responds. This is why I'm interested. I know you were very interested at one point in the deletion of these Secret Service text messages. But this is why I am interested. And I would have thought the January.
I forgot that detail. The Secret Service deleted all of their text messages. Like all of them.
Of course.
All of them. For
Of
January
course.
5th, 6th, and 7th. All of them. Just, you can't get a single text message out of the Secret Service. Oh, we just did a whole database turnover and just got rid of all that information that is lawfully supposed to be preserved for FOIA and whatever. You just can't have it.
That's kind of like all of our government officials here locally in Seattle that deleted all their text messages right after Chop.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
I don't know. There's no
they didn't wanna go to
allegation of a
jail.
crime. Why'd you delete everything?
Ethics Committee would have been interested in the two most threatening weapons that were present on January 6th that day.
Some of the video that I got released, I think, shows who found the second pipe bomb at the DNC. You know, what are the odds that a pipe bomb sat there, you know, looks like a Wile E. Coyote Acme pipe bomb, you know, from the cartoons, sat there for 16 hours and then got discovered within 20 minutes of the other pipe bomb that got discovered by some random passerby. Anyways, we think we've got on video, and I got the video released. I showed it to Christopher Wray. He wouldn't comment on it. We think we've got a video of the person who found that second pipe bomb informing the police. I want to know who that person is. Was that an undercover officer? How did he know to find it? Why did they quit looking after they found that one? Lots of questions that still.
Yeah, they found one pipe bomb, then they stopped looking. And they didn't set up a perimeter. They let school children walk by. They let other officials walk in and out. One officer ran over to the thing to take a picture. It's like, what if that thing blew up right then? You know, like they didn't follow any protocols. Highly trained, nothing. Right? These guys either knew it was inert, knew it was planted, wouldn't go off, had no sense of urgency in regards to safety.
Right. They were treating it like a prop.
They were treating it like a prop, which makes you think this might be a prop.
Right.
Now, one of the other things that happened yesterday, before we get into the Epstein stuff, is the Democrats put out this video, and this thing is causing a lot.
I'm Senator Alyssa Plaskett.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
who take risks each day.
Keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
Against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard, and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
your vigilance is critical.
know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution, and
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
So
Taylor. Oh my.
don't give up the ship.
Oh my heart. Oh, I can't wait to go out and break some laws.
I remember when Mike Pence went out on the steps of the Capitol to talk to the National Guardsmen who were deployed to protect the Capitol from those of us who were traveling home the next day, right? And he's like, follow the chain of command, no matter what the order. You have to follow the chain of command. I'm like, and now they're like, don't follow the chain of command. Don't do what we tell you to do. Please. Now, this is being taken as something a little more serious. They're saying this is an open call for insurrection.
That's what it sounded like to me.
That's what it sounded like.
How is the president pitting the military against American citizens? I don't know what they mean by that. A, B, what are the illegal orders? What are they talking about? It's like they live in an alternate reality. They live in a movie. They live in a TV show where something that's they claim is happening is not actually happening in reality. I don't know what illegal activity they're talking about, but I do.
They're talking about all the illegal activity that had happened before. They don't want justice, man. It's the constant, nonstop projection.
Hold on. I had a different take on that altogether. So my take was you don't have to follow illegal orders. That means you don't have to listen to the president because everything he says is a bunch of illegal nonsense. You don't have to listen to your local authorities if they tell you to do something you don't want to do, because that's illegal. Because we're free. You know, we can do whatever we want. So let's go out and raise some hell.
Well, you and I are free, Ron, but military members, they got a contract.
No, you can do whatever you want. Those orders are illegal.
Yeah. So Lindsey Graham freaked out on Shannon Hannity. Let's continue to listen to this.
So what illegal activity they're recommending, and they're trying to get people in the chain of command to disobey the commander in chief, which would be a terrible idea.
But they're saying don't obey legal orders, which is not
what orders.
I don't know, but I didn't hear them advocate breaking the law.
Well, I mean, I think they're trying to influence members of the military to, start to determine all orders are illegal orders just because they don't like Donald Trump. That's the way I took it. I mean, what are they trying to foment insurrection in the ranks of the military? I mean, what are they doing?
They're saying if you're being asked to do something illegal, you can come forward.
Okay, so Mark Halpern here. Mark Halpern,
you can do that every day, all day, any day you want. This is so stupid.
Mark Halpern is doing that. Well, they're not really saying anything. Of course, you wouldn't follow an illegal order. This is political. These people are political. They're not acknowledging Arctic frost. They're not acknowledging Fast and Furious. They're not acknowledging the open border. They're not acknowledging any of the things that military members have been asked to do that are illegal. Like, I don't know, droning a U.S. citizen to death without even asking for his ID card, like no due process at all. Not even summoning him to a hearing. Yeah. Or how about all of our involvement in Libya? All of it. Obviously, these guys are not insincere, why Mark Halpern? Well, I don't understand. Mark, do you know what time it is? Do you know what's actually happening? Again, I think he has normalcy bias. He's pretty good. Now, Donald Trump.
We have nothing to do with Epstein.
Yesterday about the Epstein matter, and he explains his take. The Epstein hoax isn't that Epstein was a hoax; it's that his involvement with Epstein is a hoax, right? And how they're painting it. And he's just like, look, I'll sign it. He's flip-flopped. Alex Jones explained this a little bit. A couple other people that are kind of in the know is basically people came to Trump and said, listen, they're going to use this Epstein stuff to smear you. So he came out, look, it's a hoax. Anybody looking into it is not my friend. They're not MAGA. Like, you're just perpetuating another Russia. The thing keeps having legs. The QAnon folks who, he voted for Trump, and if he doesn't release the files, he's a pedophile. I'm disgusted, by the way, by how many people who love Donald Trump, including some who got a pardon from him that have called him that, right? It's like, okay.
Isn't this like the primary thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, is that she just keeps beating that drum?
Yes, she keeps beating that drum. And she's, sent a message to Trump. Look, you're not in the files. What are you afraid of? Now, up till now, it has been a big backslash on the Democrat Party. But let's see the signal through the noise. There's a couple pieces we got to put together on this, because when we get to the other side, we don't know what we're going to see. And basically, the bill got passed last night in the House and Senate. So it will be on Trump's desk today.
Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize a great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. We've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. With Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, and a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for. I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time. Here's what I will
say. What? What happened to your mic?
I click the little button. The messaging sounds kind of boomery to me. I don't want to take away from the great things we've done, but he's not wrong, right? One of the things with Russia is America didn't get a chance to fall in love with what Trump was doing policy-wise. Yeah. He was doing incredible things. You remember the economy in 2019?
I'll bet nobody can even say what one of his policies were.
Against all headwinds, he turned the economy around, had it roaring. Had it not been for 2020, it would have been up, and away. China would have been falling back. It would have been out, and that's why you can make a big case that China, that was an opening act of war, right? That was a bioweapon released for the purpose of slowing everybody's economy down. Meanwhile, China, with a command control economy, could put the pedal to the metal. And what did they do? They ramped up green energy. As we were closing down factories, they were keeping them in production and building back supply to flood the market. Thing after thing after thing, they did that, right?
Thanks, Hillary.
Yeah, thank you. So Trump got no credit for that, except for in the Republican circles and people who were affected by it. Why? Oh, because we spent all our time thinking Putin was, running Trump like a marionette. And so that completely distracted us from that. Now, Larry Summers opened up. Apparently, he teaches at Harvard. He used to be the Harvard president. He also was the Secretary of the Treasury. It's Scott Bessett's job. He's a Epstein acolyte and is accused of doing a lot of nefarious things, not just association, doing nefarious things. So somebody posted this yesterday, how Larry Summers opened class today. Point of view, your Harvard professor opens class by recognizing he's in the Epstein files.
My statement of regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein, and that I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities for a time, but I think it's very important.
So, I know it's hard to hear. He's saying, I'm stepping back from all my public obligations, but I'm going to keep teaching this class, even though I'm an Epstein creep. And by the way, I'm in an email there asking Epstein about dating advice for dating the I shouldn't say it, but I want to say underage. I can't confirm that, but dating the daughter of one of the CCP generals or whatever.
Oof.
Your president of Harvard is dating a Chi-Com. This is horrible. Horrible. And he was the Secretary of Treasury.
Oh my God.
Now, meanwhile, Democrats are rushing full bore into this, and almost like, did they look into the files? This is really the question I have. Have they looked at this stuff? I'm going to play a couple clips here that are going to make you go, huh? I mean, are they so adamant to get rid of Trump? They know something is in there that could take Trump out, that they don't care the collateral damage? Is that where we're at? And even people who are themselves going to be collateral damage, have they been told or convinced that somehow they won't be exposed? Are they not aware of what they did? For example, this Plaskett, U.S. Virgin Islands representative, non-voting delegate, by the way, did she know who Jeffrey Epstein was? Did she think that her communication with him, specifically her emails, would be released as she's going after Trump? Here's Cenk Younger from the Young Turks explain what just happened here.
So I'm on the left, I'm a Democrat, but what the hell was that? That was crazy. So he's apparently got these Congress people on speed dial, and he's watching. I read the whole story, of course, and he's watching the entire hearings, and he's texting people different directions. Did anybody know that Epstein was running our government? I mean, that was amazing.
QAnon.
He doesn't know who
QAnon
it is.
Carlitz, tell me I'm wrong. QAnon knew Epstein was running the government.
So she misspells it in the text. She thinks it might be an acronym for something. And then she says, Ms. Rona. Rona's her first name. It's Rona Graff, the assistant for Trump. She literally has no idea what she's asking. She's only asking that question because Epstein directed her to ask that question. And interesting that Epstein at that point is directing people on how to damage Trump. So that doesn't serve any of my interest for me to tell you that, but that's what's happening in that hearing, right? You got to be fair and you got to call out what's actually happening. But what's interesting in all the emails is Epstein goes back and forth, back and forth. Should we hurt Trump or should we help Trump? Should we hurt or help? And depending on what Trump is saying. And he categorizes Trump as dangerous. My guess as to why he thinks Trump is dangerous is because usually when someone is bought or blackmailed, they stay bought or blackmailed.
What he's saying is Trump is not bought or blackmailed.
Bingo.
So why would Epstein be waffling back and forth between hurting or helping, depending on what he said? I don't know, because Trump's real enemy is maybe the bankers, some larger entity, and Epstein is just a cutout for them, right? And happens to be the guy that can,
I think it's also to create confusion so that you can't tell which direction the force is pushing.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, Representative Pete Aguilar was asked by the reporter from Lindale TV. She's got a lot of good hits
on
lately.
House Democrat Stacey Plaskett texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing.
Buffer said
no. Well, all the documents, as we said, should be released, and anybody who's had discussions with Jeffrey Epstein should make that information available.
Will Democrats move to censure her in the wake of this information being revealed?
I answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So they're acting like they have no idea. They're like, well, release the information. I don't know about this Stacey Plaskett thing. It kind of caught them off guard. Here's another one of these Democrats, Adelita, Congressman Adelita, is that her name? Representative Adelita for Arizona got asked about the Stacey Plaskett thing. Now, again, she's one of these ones who's been championed. We have to help the victims. Here she is speaking in front of a bunch of furries. Okay.
It's just been revealed that Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett was actually texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing. I know you're new here. Welcome. But what is your response to that? And should Democrats move to censure her, seeing as she was texting with a convicted child sex offender?
I have no information about that. I can't verify that information. And so I'd rather not speak on it.
It's just release it. Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett was actually texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing.
This is what's disgusting to me. You just released this information. Both these guys. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's in the files. I don't know what's in the bill. I don't know what we just voted on. Did you know you just implicated Stacey Plaskett, one of your, co-Democrats, in colluding and cavorting with Jeffrey Epstein? Do you know that Hakeem Jeffries wanted a one-on-one meeting with Epstein to raise money like a couple years ago? You know what I mean? Like well after his conviction. Are you? I'm not aware of any of this stuff. So the Stacey Plaskett thing, grew legs all in a day because people were like, "Holy crap!" She was texting people while Epstein was running the government, And so she got brought up for censure yesterday. This is Biggs talking about that.
But here's the deal. When you're sitting there in a sitting committee and you're having communications with a convicted sex offender, and you're taking their advice on how to ask questions, maybe you got a problem. Maybe your problem is that you've brought disrepute on the House. But here's the deal.
Yeah, maybe.
When you're sitting there in a sitting committee and you're having
good gravy, got opened up different files, 4 things as I was moving my mouse. So they brought her up on a censure vote. Now I've got a couple other floor speakers, Raskin's oh, this is not a big deal. Plunkett's I didn't know Jeffrey Epstein was going to be investigated. He'd already been convicted, woman. That again. So you wanted 2 convictions, or you're waiting for 3 strikes, you're out. What are we doing? Okay. So a couple things to keep in mind with all this. So while this is brewing, they went into a hot debate, right, on the floor about censuring her. She ended up surviving the censure by 1 vote. Now we're going to talk about that. Now, here's Anna Paulina.
Was it Thomas Massey?
No, it wasn't. Here's Anna Paulina Luna giving us a little bit of fill-in, too, about these Epstein files. Now, the Democrats were completely unaware that Plaskett would be caught up in this, that Hakeem Jeffries would be caught up in this, that a number of, they seem to just be like, release the files. I was told it would hurt Trump, right? But there's something else about these files that we've known if you've been paying attention, and Anna Paulina brings this up because the FBI came to Congress in the last administration to give them a heads up that files have been deleted out of the Epstein book.
Oh, man.
Regarding Jeffrey Epstein, so much of it in many corners focuses on President Trump. But it's not President Trump who had a painting in Jeffrey Epstein's house wearing a dress and high heels. It's not President Trump who'd been to the island. It's not President Trump who's littered throughout the emails by others talking about, hey, Jeff, I saw your boy at Davos. Why are we not talking about Bill Clinton?
Well, I think it's important to note that even from the beginning of my task force in January of this year, I was really pushing to figure out what the deal was with these documents. And in around February timeframe, I was made aware by a whistleblower, of which I have since reported this to the FBI. And it was actually the only outlet in the country that would report on our findings was Fox News. We had actually reported that we were made aware of a whistleblower that under the former deputy director of the FBI, so under Biden's FBI, there was destruction of evidence specifically pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein and potential evidence tampering. I think that that's pretty important to note because I went public with this and not one member of Congress, really for the most part, a majority of Republicans weren't even tracking that. But
okay.
Oh, notice how the Fox News is the good guys again.
Now, meanwhile, at the same time, we played this before. What did they just say yesterday? Well, I believe Republicans are burning things that are damaging to Republicans. They're getting rid of the evidence. They've scrubbed it. That's what they're saying. But yet we had an actual whistleblower when there was no media attention on this at all, saying the opposite, that the Democrat stuff has been scrubbed out of this. So are we going to get a big surprise today when Trump signs the bill and no Democrats are involved, or only a couple select ones that they're going to allow to be knocked out? Is it going to be all like, oh, turns out, contrary to everything he ever said and the way he lived his life, Epstein was a Republican. He loved Republicans. Is that what we're going to find out?
Maybe we'll get a, hey, Grok, can you turn this whole thing upside down?
Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, another thing happened too, is some stuff it's not new, but Epstein, in his own words, said, I work for the CIA. Okay.
You have subpoena power. You're in the majority, so you have subpoena power. Here's an article that, we seem to be the only show that ever cares about this kind of stuff. That says that Jeffrey Epstein was just bragging about working for the CIA. And, this is from the Evening Standard, and it was published when? When was this? In 2001. Okay. So this is sort of before, Jeffrey Epstein became totally and completely, memed and popularized in culture. And I think he was probably a little more loose in bragging about what he was doing. And so Jeffrey Epstein saying, yep, I work for the CIA. Is the CIA going to get a subpoena? Is Ratcliffe or anybody at the CIA going to have to get dragged in and asked about their files on Jeffrey Epstein?
I would love for that to happen, and I beg for subpoenas every day that I'm here in Congress. I think that we use this authority far less than we ought to. We saw Democrats' abuse of the subpoena power that they held when they were in the majority. And I do feel that we are more skittish than we ought to be in serving these. But also, even within the FBI and DOJ, they can issue subpoenas as well. And so it doesn't just have to come from the oversight committee. If Cash Patel.
So they can get, clearly lots of people have subpoena power. Republicans are just hesitant to use power, man. That's all there is to it. Under Paul Ryan, they didn't want to issue subpoenas. You're watching Russiagate unfold. They've got them caught dead to rights. Whistleblowers jumping out of the DOJ like rats off a ship, Donald Trump says, and Congress sat on its hands. You got guys like Trey Gowdy being like, I think the FBI did the best job possible. We love those guys, right? Okay.
Well, this is where it gets back to me, where I'm like, it's Democrat and a Republican problem.
Yeah. Now, the Republicans generally don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? The establishment, so to speak, or the Republican Party that votes, we like Donald Trump. The people we elect, they tend not to. So Mike Johnson has kind of really been playing the fence on this Epstein thing. We're not going to release him. Okay, we're going to release him. Okay, it was going to get discharged anyway, so we kind of piled on and voted for it. But then he went into a press conference and talked about national security issues and CIA and all these things, and those things need to be redacted. And so we're relying on the Senate to make some changes and send it back to the House. So he was telling House members, this vote wasn't final. It's going to go to the Senate. They're going to make the changes. It'll come back to us. But while Trump was meeting with MBS, the Senate passed it as is. Now, this set Mike Johnson off into a panic, who made a phone call to Donald Trump. So this is Mike Johnson on the move.
Any reaction to Leader Thune seeing the bill without adding amendments or changing it?
I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome. I think I've been at the state dinner. I don't know. I was just told that Chuck Schumer rushed it to the floor and put it out there preemptively. It needed amendments. I just spoke to the president about that. We'll see what happens.
So do you think he may veto it? You say you spoke to the president?
I'm not saying that.
Is he supportive of it in its current form?
We both have concerns about it. Both things. I'm saying it with the Crown Prince.
Are you frustrated in the majority leader? Are you upset with the majority leader?
Does that not look like deer in the headlights? Now, it could be a rush because Saudi Arabia is rumored to be involved in the Epstein stuff. And here they are. Let's get it out. Maybe while Crown Prince is still on our property, we'll issue an arrest warrant. Maybe we'll get Mondani to play those international arrest warrants. They probably already have it prearranged. We're doing international law. That's kind of scary. Right? Mike Johnson, did you see the look in his eyes?
Yeah.
It passed. It passed.
He didn't know where he was standing.
Did we scrub it? Did we do something? Or here's my concern. You didn't look. You didn't look. Nobody went through 30,000 pages because you guys are lazy.
We
because
undertook
you
a very
regularly
steep
pass
hill.
bills without reading them. You're playing politics with people's lives. This is a setup. This is a setup. This is a setup. It's a hoax. The involvement with Trump, painting the town with Epstein, it's a setup. You can go in and find these victims. You've covered up information. We already knew that from whistleblower reports long before Massey and others took up the charge, which makes you wonder, why is it suddenly they get involved? I understand Marjorie Taylor Greene. I understand Lauren Boebert. These guys literally campaigned on a Q platform, right? So I don't fault them for pursuing this dog. In fact, it would actually look disingenuous if Marjorie Taylor Greene or Boebert suddenly were like, nope, don't release them.
Yeah, exactly.
That would look wrong. So I understand at least their stance. Marjorie's got her own stuff going on with Trump. Massey, it's like, this guy's kind of always an obstructionist for the Republican Party. His virtue is weaponized by the left against the Republican Party by telling him, your better ideas are an enemy to the Republicans' good ideas. Don't pass them. But when he's not in power, then he's, my vote doesn't count, or I don't know what he thinks. So here he is in this little panel with some victims and Ro Khanna, and he's being asked about this bill that got passed, and he's being very clear. Oh, information's going to come out. Micro expressions. Look at his face when he says that. He smiles.
If the administration doesn't release what it has, what will you do as the two who led this charge and were the originals that are the reason we're here tonight?
Well, as Rose said, there are criminal penalties if they don't follow the law. And that's the recourse that we would follow. We undertook a very steep hill, a steep climb to get this done. There have been subpoenas, there have been resolutions, there's been an oversight committee. Those are all sort of Mother May I requests to the administration. We decided to do this as a law, which means it has to pass both chambers and even be signed by the man who was opposed to it, at least be presented to him. He could have always vetoed it. And because we're going to overcome all three of those hurdles, our recourse is legal now. These people could eventually go to jail for not releasing these files.
If the administration doesn't.
I have proposed this theory. Elon Musk and Trump created a pincer move. It has happened, by the way. They were back together last night having dinner. Ooh, Elon, who called Trump a pedo and set the world on fire. Like, hey, buddy, we're good friends, right? They're at dinner together. And Elon said, Trump's not evil. Well, I'm pretty sure pedos are evil. So that's pretty clear to me that that's not what's going on here. They created a pincer move, man. Like they did that. Is Thomas Massey a part of that? I doubt it. I really think what's going on between him and Trump is personal. However, maybe they've mastered the art of theater. I don't know. Josh Hawley seems to have another take. Now he's over in the Senate. Apparently he's been working on this thing and they decided, oh, not only are we releasing the files, but the law says it has to be in a searchable database.
So this Epstein thing. Hakeem's people asked Epstein to come to dinner and meet him after he was convicted for fooling around with a 14-year-old.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, this is why the Democrats, they're going to regret, I think, ever playing around with this, and they're going to regret embracing transparency, though I'm glad they did. They thought, I think, that the files would never become public. They thought this was all a game. Well, guess what? They're going to get their wish. They are going to become public. The president's going to sign the bill. The president's been right all along on this. He said months ago, make public everything you can that's not classified. Now Congress is finally going to do it. And I think we're going to learn a lot, Jesse. A lot of people suddenly are going to get real reticent to talk about Epstein, whether it's Hakeem Jeffries, whether it's Larry Summers, that Harvard president you mentioned a second ago who worked for Barack Obama. We're going to find out a lot about a lot of folks because you know what else is in this bill that just passed tonight? It's got to be a searchable database. So any American can go in and read the files for themselves. That's how it should be. I'm looking forward to seeing what's there.
Well, so are my producers.
So we basically have to rely on congressional ineptitude in order for there to be anything in there. Because you know when they release this, the first thing people are going to put is Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see 5,000 hits for Trump. And then they're going to slowly work down the list and look for other people. One of the other things that they did, and this was a tactic, was they misspelled everyone's names and gave nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In fact, Jim Comey made this a practice on his legal documents. He called himself Jim Cornyn. So at a first glance, you could see Comey, but it made it impossible to search for when you did a FOIA and you looked for Comey. This was something that they did. And you see that in there. They're misspelling everybody's names, which makes it hard to search for. So Ro Khanna, who was Massey's partner in crime on this one to bring this bill forward, he got asked in an interview because with what they did release and they leaked out, turns out he took money.
Any comment on Hakeem Jeffries' campaign soliciting money from Jeffrey Epstein himself back in 2020?
Oh, excuse me, Hakeem Jeffries. Look at his face.
First time hearing about it, obviously.
Homer said it on the.
You just released it.
I don't know if it's true. I mean, you're just saying it, but obviously, anyone who took money from him should return the money. So didn't know
idiots.
Money, and I
Did
don't.
he step down?
Idiots.
Leader.
I have to look at what you're saying. It's the first time hearing about it, but he should certainly return the money or donate the money. And it's the first time, honestly, hearing about it.
You released this. You released this. This is in your committee's information that you've spent months combing through. You released this. You just implicated your party's leader in taking money from a criminal. And you're responsible. First time I'm hearing about this. Really? I'm torn. Are you guys running an op on Trump? Or you're being told you're running an op on Trump and you just assume the files are going to not implicate your own party? Or is this, and this was suggested by some, this was Patrick Byrne. He said he just jujitsu'd his way out of this. He used all their energy to convince them to pass this thing overwhelmingly. He's going to sign it into law. And tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and find out things about Larry Summers and Bill Gates and all these people. And the Democrats are going to be like, I thought my CIA rep told me it was going to be all bad Trump. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How 3D, 5D chess is this? Is it really plausible that Ro Khanna just wants the list out, period? Doesn't care who's on it, doesn't care who's implicated. He just wants to help the victims. I mean, I could buy into that, except you've got stuff like this. This is Chris Cuomo talking to a victim. And cheaping out some
stash.
Huh?
It's Pedos.
I know, dude. That's like, oh my gosh. By the way, for men, for fashion, I want people to hear this. For fashion, for men, gays lead the way. Okay. So a couple years ago, this mustache was a gay stash. Okay? Only gay or bisexual men had a mustache like that. We're past the Tom Selleck days. We went clean cut. We went full beards. Now we got that. Okay. The next thing they did, and then also gays historically, typically sometimes had long hair, a little feminized. Now they're all clean cut, nice and tight and sharp. with these gay mustaches. Okay. Real men are growing their hair out long, growing full beards. Okay. There's something going on there. And that's a real thing, by the way. It's commented on in all the lifestyle blogs.
Sorry, maybe that's why I laughed immediately.
But here's the thing. They lead the way. So now the mustache is making a comeback amongst straight men. Okay. But I find it funny because now once I see it as gay first, I have a hard time ever wanting to adopt it. And I'm not like, care. I don't care. But at the same time,
I don't care either. I just think it's funny.
It will forever be a gay stash. Okay. So she's being asked, hey, you victims, why don't you guys name names? Like, why are you waiting for all this drama and WWE political nonsense when you guys could just, release the information?
Police for years now. And so to answer your question, I don't know why it's taken so long. I mean, isn't that the $1 million question?
I think so. I mean, you heard what I said off the top of the show. I've always wanted things released and for the right reasons. I don't know that everybody involved has the same motivations. But why are you guys afraid to put out the names? The attorneys say don't?
Death threats. A lot of us are mothers. We want the names to be out there. We want justice. But why do we have to do it? That's a very scary thing. And I think you know that. It's just, we want to help to put the names out there, but it's not our responsibility to do so.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You are a mother, you are an adult, and you can seek protection. You should put the names out there. The fact that you're hiding behind Congress, who's clearly using this as a weaponized
Was she a victim?
thing. She was a victim.
Why would a victim not?
Death threats. The death threats will not stop. In fact, it almost guaranteed once the name is out because you're on TV telling them and encouraging them. They're not going to disconnect you from the release of information. Okay. So here's Jen Psaki, of course, wanting to probe and ask a question about, well, what about Donald Trump and his involvement? And again, here's a victim. Tell me this isn't coached.
But because Donald Trump is a person who, of course, owns Mar-a-Lago, I just have to ask if you think he was aware of that arrangement.
I don't know if he was aware. Actually, I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
You were in your teens. You were in your teens. Yeah. And I think this is important for people to understand that people were in their teens and were young and you were.
Okay, Jen.
So your memories aren't that good. Well, they were turning into lizards. I can't be critical. I mean, they're victims. There's nobody saying that stuff wasn't going on. I'm just looking at this going, I've not heard anything credible. I hear a lot. I mean, I have watched some salacious stuff. I watched an FBI interview with a victim of Bill Clinton. It's hard not to believe it. No actions ever taken. Right now, the big question here is, what are the Democrats willing to give up to get Trump? And this is what James Comer addresses on Just the News with John Solomon.
To testify, they've not lifted a finger to help get the Clintons in. They were quick to demand Acosta testify and Bill Barr testify. They're always Trump, 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 but they don't say a word about Democrats. But I'll tell you this, they hate Trump so much, they would be willing to give up Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and Hakeem Jeffries if it meant having a scout from Donald Trump. So, look, the Democrats have Trump derangement syndrome. They're just hoping and praying that there's something in these documents somewhere. They don't know where, but somewhere that would implicate Trump. And what's sad about that is the Republicans on the Oversight Committee, and I think the Republicans in the House of Representatives, we want transparency. We're not hiding anything. We want every name released. We want every document made public. But at the end of the day, our goal is to get justice for the victims of Epstein and Maxwell and to figure out who in the government's responsible for not apprehending Epstein and Maxwell sooner. But the Democrats' objective is onefold. They want to try to get Donald Trump. They don't know how. They don't know in what way. They just hope and pray that there's Hail Mary is caught in the end zone at the last second and there's something in there pertaining to Donald Trump. And that's sad. And I hope the American people are seeing the hypocrisy of the Democrats throughout this whole Epstein thing. Because remember,
and what I'm concerned about is what Catherine Austin Fix said, that the bankers are behind this. The bankers would know. They would have read this bill or had somebody read it. these congressmen are kind of acting blindly, right? What they did leak out with stuff that was supposed to be salacious against Trump, but the moment you looked at it, oh, this is Epstein just hating on Trump, and oh, this is Epstein saying Trump turned him in, and oh, this is Epstein saying that, you know, Trump's not blackmailable, he's dangerous. This is Trump saying, you know, it's like, this isn't, I mean, the way they phrase some of these sentences in isolation, but when you read it, it's like, this doesn't really hurt Trump's cause at all. Now, right. Burkhart was pretty upset about this Plaskett thing, and he's like, listen, I think the Republicans are feckless and weak.
Do you support...
Who you with?
Allison Steiner with Lindell TV.
Okay, I've seen you.
Good to see you.
TV.
Do you support censuring Rep Plaskett after finding out that she was texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing?
Absolutely. Epstein's a dirtbag, and the money they took from her, and you know, you've got a member now who's violated the client privilege with one of them in prison, and then they interfered between the emails and things like that. Sure, absolutely. But will we? Probably not. We don't have a lot of guts up here. I'm kind of sick of it myself. This isn't like Tennessee where people just they call you out and take you out behind the woodshed, and that's what these folks need up here.
Now, in a joking way, you know, call you out and take you behind the woodshed. This is kind of what I was implying on January 6th. Was a lot of congressmen need to be taken behind the woodshed. I'm just joking. I'm making light of a horrible situation. It was called dark humor. Give me a break. Okay, scoop. Brianna Morello. The Republican leadership wanted to save Congressman Corey Mills. That is a story we covered weeks ago. Again, if you pay attention to what we peasants pay attention to, you won't be caught off guard by a lot of this stuff. Corey Mills is one of these Republican dirtbags. Beats his wife, accuses her of doing things, blackmails people over with sex tapes, sex extortion. He's involved in a lot of nefarious allegations and claims, none of which we can prove. We can just read what Nancy Mace posts about him constantly, right? Well, he was up for censure, and so they put Plaskett up for censure. And then the Democrats were like, well, then we'll put Corey Mills up for censure. So the Republican leadership wanted to save Congressman Corey Mills, so they blocked Stacey Plaskett from being removed from the House Intelligence Committee. If Plaskett was removed, Dems were expected to immediately bring a retaliatory resolution to censor Mills. One congressional member telling me Republican leadership sent 3 Republicans on a kamikaze mission to save Corey Mills. Dems were going to target Mills because of the restraining order that was granted by a judge last month for one of his ex-girlfriends. So now we protect the wife beater while protecting with the pedophile colluder. I love it. What a wonderful Congress. Dirty. She's on the Intelligence Committee, bro. A non-voting member can sit in and listen to the intelligence. By the way, that Intelligence Committee is, where Adam Schiff was running his game. Now, here is, and again, in all fairness, we want to put this out there. This is from a guy teaching at Cambridge University. He's written some big, long book on Jeffrey Epstein and Trump and all these connections. And he says something that I've heard before, possibly from him. So this might be a one source thing here, right? But this could also be why there's a lot of hesitancy to just release the files.
So here we are with him in Mar-a-Lago, as you see with Epstein. Sorry, can you see okay? Epstein, a woman called Gwendolyn Beck, who Andrew took to the island, and Melania. I had various references in my book to Melania Trump. Epstein had actually been her lover before Trump, but Trump didn't like that in the book, so he ordered it to be taken out of the book after about 60,000 copies had been printed. So seems to be a pretty pointless gesture, but anyway, our publishers did it, but I keep spreading the word. So here we are with
what if Melania is all over this? And again, I'm not making nefarious claims. What if he was just her girlfriend, right? These rich guys have a girlfriend. Ghislaine Maxwell pretended to be his girlfriend, pretended to be others. Mm-hmm. She's just a girlfriend, right? Mm-hmm. Not a big deal. These guys are all down in Palm Beach, the rich and famous. Could that be why Trump's hesitant? Now, there's a very strong, very, very strong possibility that Donald Trump Jr. had nothing to do with Stormy Daniels. It might have been, or Donald Trump Sr., Donald Trump. It might have been Donald Trump Jr.
Oh.
Right? Very strong possibility we got the wrong Don. But Trump wouldn't give up the kid. He sat and took the fire, right? Okay. some people say that. I can't prove anything either way. You can't prove he was with the state. You can't prove anything in there.
That's certainly a maybe.
Yeah, certainly a maybe. Now, one of the other things too that again, when we, Marjorie Taylor Greene is making this big deal. Donald Trump spending too much time overseas, too much time worrying about what's going on overseas. Never should have bombed Iran. Never should have done this. Well, this is George. Excuse me, I always forget his name. It's Greek as well. Kirkolos. Dang. Anyways, he's talking about this recent situation with Iran.
It was
excuse me, wrong clip.
You're talking about John Kirikou?
Kirikou, yes, John Kirikou. Here we go. So he's talking about this recent deal with Iran.
The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
So according to your source, the Israelis told the president of the United States that if he did not use the United States military power to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, Israel, acting on its own, would use nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Do you see why there's a problem with that statement, John?
Yeah.
Because they've never admitted that they've had them.
That's right.
So you're telling me that they just admitted to the president of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and we still do not have them in the IAEA treaty?
I mean, if Israeli nuclear whistleblowers are to be believed, yeah, they've had them. They started working on them in the 50s. They got them around the late 60s or the early 70s. Look at Mordechai Vanunu.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't charged for treason for nothing.
That's the guy who they hit in Rome with the honeypot?
Yeah.
Yeah, 86.
The reason, though,
well, hold on. They're
that
also
Donald
threatening us. They're threatening us. So how are they our ally?
Israel?
Yeah.
They're not a good ally. That's the propaganda. We're America's best ally. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'll still take Canada. I don't like them, but I'll still take them.
Get out there and do our dirty work, or we're going to do something bad.
We're going to do something bad to you. If you don't take out the following list of countries, which once you do that, the neighborhood will be a lot better.
Okay.
Meanwhile, MBS in Saudi Arabia is gearing up, making huge investments, buying planes. Here's Stephen Miller. These are good things.
It was a magnificent evening, Sean, a magnificent day. Look, this comes fresh off the heels of President Trump brokering a peace deal that nobody thought was possible between Israel and Gaza, securing the release of all remaining living hostages, as well as returning now almost all of the remains of those tragically lost. This was about securing a future of security and peace for the region and for the world. And today, President Trump continued in historic fashion the process he began in 2017 of uniting the world against extremism, against terrorism, against instability, against violence, and forming partnerships around prosperity, investment, peace, cooperation, and against radicalism. And so as part of today, so when President Trump was in the Middle East recently in Saudi Arabia, he brought $600 billion of investment home. Today, the kingdom raised that amount to $1 trillion. And as President Trump said, including in his remarks tonight at the dinner, that means more than anything else, jobs for Americans. This is the jobs president, Sean.
The jobs president. So we are about ready to jump over to private, where we've got more great news. In fact, for those of you that don't like the Epstein topic, you're going to wish you'd have stuck around and been part of the premium subscription to be able to listen to private, because we're going to talk about things other than Epstein. Pray the Rosary daily. Maybe since war's ending, MTG's portion of money coming back to Congress is drying up. That is a real thing. There are reports out coming now where MTG is, in fact, I shouldn't say in fact, allegedly taking money from Congress. Congress. She gets a paycheck. George Soros. Right? Now, this harkens back years and years ago when Lynn Wood called Marjorie Taylor Greene a communist and, said, look under all these rocks. And he pointed out a whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah, it's hard to know. I don't want to be critical. I almost hate it, right? The mudslinging. There's certain people that will Massey gets under my skin because he doesn't know what time it is. There's a time to put on the team jersey, and then there's a time to go. When the Democrats are in power, go do your obstructionist thing and transparency. Why do you only do it when Republicans are in power? It's because that's the only time he has any kind of leverage. That's the truth. So let's go ahead and jump over to private, and we're going to hear from Jeff Bezos talking about AI and how we shouldn't be looking at AI as an invention.